So you're looking for action RPGs on your mobile device. It's not only about Diablo Immortal, Undecember, and Torchlight Infinite. We have a ton of other options that you can play. Now, I have my favorites. You'll have yours as well, which you could let me know what they are at the end of the video. But let's jump into the top 15 action RPGs that you can play right now on mobile. Coming in at number 1 on today's list is Diablo Immortal, which is actually my personal favorite, minus some of the hate that it got for being pay to win, which it definitely is. I think this is the best action RPG on mobile right now. Sitting at 3.9 stars with almost 100,000 reviews, 10 million plus downloads, Diablo Immortal gives you the best of all worlds when we're talking about action RPGs. PvP experiences, PvE experiences, dungeons that you could play solo or with your friends, plus regular updates inside of the game. Diablo Immortal does almost everything right. Obviously, all of the games on today's list are not perfect. You're gonna have to choose your favorite ones, but for me, Diablo Immortal legit is my number 1, which is why I started another whole YouTube channel focusing on Diablo Immortal called Echo Gaming Diablo. Go check it out. Next on today's list is one that I have recently started playing. This is Undecember, sitting at 3.4 stars with over 15,000 reviews and 500,000 downloads. Undecember is a game that is available both on Steam, PC, and on mobile devices, cross-platform. And I failed to mention that Diablo Immortal also is cross-platform as well, which you would hook up via your battle.net account. Undecember is a great game that offers you a classless system. This means that when you start up the game, you don't have to choose your class. You can go in and play as any character you want. You're considered a rune hunter, and as you collect different runes, they act as different skills, all which can be upgraded inside of the game and allow you to really customize your builds more than anything else that we've seen before on mobile. This one is a good mixture of a game like Diablo and a game like Path of Exile. Free to play with pay to win elements, of course. Go check this one out though, it's a ton of fun. Next on today's list is Torchlight Infinite, another action RPG that I have loved for a long time from its early days when it was Torchlight back on Xbox. 4.5 stars out of 16,000 reviews, which 500,000 plus downloads. This is an action RPG that is just a bit more bright and colorful than the others that we've talked about so far on today's list. It definitely has its place in this space, and it's also one of the best options for you to play right now. Torchlight Infinite just brings me back to when I was a kid and played the original Torchlights and Torchlight 2 back on console. So much fun, done really well with a pet system that I personally enjoy, and tons of modifications that you can implement for your character class, as well as skill trees galore. I think you're gonna like this one. It's a ton of fun, and it's probably one of my top 3 out of everything on today's list. So those are my top 3 of all. Those are my 3 favorites. We have a whole bunch more that may be your personal favorites as well. Let me know in the comments section below, what is your favorite mobile game that you're playing right now? Next up, we have ANIMA. This is your Diablo 2 style game with 4.3 stars, 108,000 reviews, and over 1 million downloads. ANIMA is the game that a lot of people were really into while they awaited Diablo Immortal. This game does not really have much of a pay-to-win element to it at all, but it is a bit dated, kind of like a Diablo 2 style game. Now, that does not mean a lot of negative things for many different players, as people love Diablo 2 and how that game played. ANIMA plays very similarly, so actually the datedness that I speak of could be a positive thing for many people playing this game. ANIMA is one that you literally can't go wrong with. It's free to play, download it and give it a shot. It's not one of my personal favorites, but a lot of other people would argue that it is one of the best. ETERNIUM has been out for quite a long time. 4.8 stars out of 2.54 million reviews and 10 million plus downloads. This is one of the OG of action RPGs on mobile devices. This is one that has actually quite a bit of fun. It looks like Torchlight, but the control scheme is different than any other we've spoken of today inside of this video. Here you can use different swiping motions, letters, numbers, and symbols that actually have you do different actions inside of the game. Another game here that does not really have a massive pay-to-win element. Of course, there's ways that you can utilize microtransactions inside of the game, but nothing that's going to be going ahead and breaking your bank. Lots of fun. ETERNIUM is excellent, and really one that I go back to from time to time when I'm just looking for something a little bit different. This one's great. Give it a shot. You can't go wrong. RAZIEL Dungeon Arena, 4.4 stars with 57,000 reviews and 1 million downloads. This is another game that while I was waiting for Diablo Immortal to release, which took 2.5 gosh darn years, I played. RAZIEL was a lot of fun. There was a paywall at one point inside of the game where you get to it and you get the desire to start paying for your play. Very short style dungeons and zones inside of this game. The depth is not as deep as some of the games that we mentioned earlier on in the video, but if you're looking for a game that you can do in little quick instances, jump in, play for 5 minutes and jump out, this could be a really great option for you. The graphics are great. It feels very much like a Diablo style game, but it lacks some of the depth. Again, still one that I would recommend to anyone that's looking for a solid action RPG, which is why it's on today's list. And welcome to BLADEBOUND, 4.4 stars with 114,000 reviews, 1 million downloads. This one's been around for a while, has a decent following, and people seem to like it. It's not one of my favorites from the list, but it is one that the community does enjoy, and the game does still have an active community that likes to play. All right, so Black Desert Mobile isn't exactly an action RPG, it's more of an MMO RPG, but you know what? It's another one that fits your need if you are looking for an action RPG. This is a really great game, another one that I played quite a bit of about 1.5 to 2 years ago. 4.1 stars out of 421,000 reviews with 10 million plus downloads. This game has massive amounts of depth and there's so many things that you could learn and do inside of it that it kind of makes me get the feeling of Undecember Within, where you're starting a new game and there's just so much for you to learn, where you need to invest some serious time to understand the mechanics and to figure out how to min-max the game. Black Desert Mobile is a great one. Polygon Fantasy Action RPG, 4.1 stars out of almost 10,000 reviews and 1 million plus downloads. I like this one because of the simplistic art style. It actually reminds me of a game called Knighthood, which is just a traditional RPG on mobile, actually another fantastic game. This one's just a little bit lighter than the others. Not every single game that you play needs to be a, take your whole life away and be the best in the game style game. This one could be an option if you're more casual. Darkness Rises. This game is very different than everything on today's list. It's an action RPG, but it plays very different than any of the others that we've seen here today. This one you are consistently running into the screen. It's not a back and forth side to side. You are running straight forward towards your enemies, and it's a very fast-paced game at that. Darkness Rises is sitting with 4.5 stars out of 1.6 million reviews with over 10 million downloads. The graphics in this game are really very nice, and the gameplay is fast and exciting, and you can choose from many different character classes along the way. This is one that I covered a little bit back in the day on my main channel, and it's one that I enjoyed. It's definitely different if you're looking for something that's just out of the norm from anything else we've discussed so far in the video. So far, everything on today's list has been a free-to-play game, but that ends now with Pascal's Wager, which is $6.99 to purchase this game, and it's a game that I have purchased in the past. Sitting with 3.8 stars out of 12.7 reviews and 100,000 downloads, this game is brutal, and by that I mean it is not easy to play. When you die, you're dead. There is no softness inside of this game. It's more like those old school action RPGs where, you can't just continuously regenerate your health, but when you die, you are actually like a real human being and your death is final, and that's the end of it. This one has a lot less downloads because you have to pay for the game. Pretty simple things there. $7 to buy it, where you can get all of the others for free. But this one is very well done, and it definitely does have that classic feel. If you're in the market for something to pay for, this is one you could try. Next up is Mir 4, which has very back and forth reviews here. 3.5 stars with 147,000 reviews, 5 million plus downloads. Mir 4 actually turned into being a crypto style game at some point, so that was something that was a possibility within it as well. Like I said, the community either loves or hates this game. I played it and thought it had some really nice mechanics, but I did not get into the end game of it to see what that all looks like. But it is another free-to-play game that you can give a shot to, and if you're into crypto style games or NFT gaming, this could be an option for you if that ever comes back and becomes a big thing again. Next on today's list is Titan Quest. This is another game that is not free. It's $9.99 and it's sitting with 100,000 downloads, 3.7 stars out of 27,000 reviews. When I was always playing action RPGs, waiting for Diablo Immortal on the second channel, many people requested me to play this or suggested I play this game, saying that it was a true action RPG from days of old. It's definitely one that if you're in the market for the pay-to-play style games, that this is one that you can get into. And by pay-to-play, I don't mean pay-to-win. I mean it costs money to download the game, because like I said, this one sits at $10. Next up is Evil Lands, online action RPG, 4.4 stars, 358,000 reviews with 10 million downloads. This one as well has been around for some time. It's another within the genre. If you're looking for something to spice it up or just for something different that the majority of people are not playing, this could be your option. And that's an option for you to choose if you want to. And next up we have Dungeon Hunters 5. And why must this one be on the list? Because every time I don't put it on a list, people from the community come out and say that it deserves to be there. This is one of the longest standing action RPGs on mobile devices, with a community that is still very active and in huge support for the game. 4.1 stars out of 775,000 reviews with 10 million plus downloads. Make sure you sub and ring the bell so that you know what games you need to try next.